My name is Rose. I'm a certified diabetes educator. I'm a nurse. I work out of St. Anne's Hospital. This is Laurie Hammontree. She's a registered dietitian. She's also a certified diabetes educator. We both work out of the diabetes program at St. Anne's Hospital. And our goal today is try to get people together to give them information about diabetes for those who have diabetes, but also for those who are at risk for diabetes. I'm going to ask for a show of hands. Now this is all very informal. If anyone's ever been to one of my groups before, they're very informal. If you want to participate, great. If you don't, that's okay too. Answer any questions you're comfortable answering. Don't answer them if you don't answer. But I'm going to ask the group, how many people here have diabetes? How many people here do not have diabetes? Okay, that's okay. No, that's okay. And it's okay. Go ahead.
How about if they're not sure?
That's okay too. How many people aren't clear? Okay. Well, that's good because at the end of this session, you'll be clear on whether you do or whether you don't. Or you'll have the information that you can talk with your doctor about whether you do or whether you don't. Because there is no in the middle, there is no questions. These are based on numbers. And so you walk into the doctor and you say, what's my blood sugar? And he tells you. And you will be able to say, based on that number, I have or do not have diabetes based on those numbers. And so the confusion is sometimes just because it's a lack of understanding. You don't know. So you don't know until you don't know, right? So today we're going to help you know. We're just going to help you learn. How many of the people who have diabetes have type 1 diabetes? How many have type 2? How many do not know? Okay. So we're talking to a group of mostly type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is the absolute most common. 90% of people with diabetes have type 2 diabetes. It's very different than type 1. The treatment is similar to some respect, but there's very little similarities. Most of it is different. But it's good that everyone here has type 2 or at risk of developing type 2 because we'll address that. Now, to understand diabetes, we first have to understand what is it all about? What is diabetes? Diabetes is actually a disorder of metabolism. And what is metabolism? The way you use energy. And where do you get your energy? From the food you eat. So diabetes is a disorder in which you have trouble using food. All of the food? No. Some of the food, right? So what I'm going to do is kind of do a little drawing here to go over what the process of metabolism is. Now the number one rule, don't laugh at my drawings. All right. So food goes into the stomach. And it breaks apart into different things, different energy sources. For an example, a chicken sandwich. Chicken turns out to be what? Protein. So one of the energy that your food turns into is protein. What are your protein foods?
Nuts, eggs,
Legumes. Good. Meat, fish, chicken, eggs, nuts, cheese. I heard legumes. Yes, legumes have protein. Milk has protein. There are several foods that have protein. We don't put them in the protein category because they also have something else. So protein foods, meat, fish, chicken, pork fits there too. Eggs, nuts, cheese, including soy. So soy is another protein source. People with diabetes have no trouble with protein. What does protein do? Builds muscle, repairs cells. It has a job to do, and that's its job. So you eat chicken, builds muscle, repairs cells. Very nice. If you were a car, protein is the oil. Now you also need another source of energy, right? Fats. Important as well. It cushions your organs. It allows you to survive the winter 1,000 years ago. So it's important. Do we need a lot of it? No. Sort of like transmission fluid. A little goes a long way. That's what that is. The other source of energy is your carbs. What are your carbohydrates? They're your energy, exactly. So it's your breads, right? Your starches, like meat, rice, beans, pasta, potatoes, corn. How many people used to think corn was a vegetable? Come on, come on. Yeah, me too. Corn, peas, right? Those are starches. So rice, beans, pasta, potato, corn, and peas. We got your grains. What's your grains? Bread, cereals. Yeah, all of those things made with flour, oatmeal. Yeah. We have fruit, milk, and like yogurts. Those are your carbohydrates. Now, if this is the oil and this is the transmission fluid, what do you think this is? Gas. That's right. So carbohydrates are your main source of energy. Okay? This turns into sugar. So carbohydrates are another fancy name for starches and sugars in foods. They all turn into sugar. And that sugar is your body's main source of energy. If you were a car, where do you think the engines are? Your muscles. So this energy needs to get into your muscles. That's what this is. Okay? It can't get there from the stomach. It just doesn't go from the stomach to the muscle. Your body sends it to the blood. Now your body, very good at keeping your blood sugar at a normal range. A normal range is between 70 and 100 before a meal. So if you haven't eaten anything, your body's job is to keep it between 70 and 100. Okay? So this energy is here in the blood bloodstream. How many people here skip meals? Breakfast skippers? Really? Usually I see a lot more. Lunch, yeah? Some people are not eating, how many people eat, like 1 or 2 meals a day? Okay? So you wake up in the morning and you haven't eaten and you're going to go out and do your thing. Where's the gas coming? Did you put gas in the car? No. You put gas in the car? Coffee. Some people say, I drink my coffee. That isn't starches, grains, meat, milk, or fruit. So where is the energy coming from? Well, the energy comes from your liver. Some people say fat. It comes from my fat. And it does not. It comes from your liver. Your liver's in charge of keeping this balance. So your liver is giving you a little bit of sugar all the time. But something needs to take this from the blood and put it into the muscle. What do you think that is? Insulin. So insulin is a hormone that's released from the pancreas. And its job is to get the sugar out of the blood and into the cells. Now, to think of it easily, I always like people to think of it as a truck that picks up the sugar and puts it into the cell through these doors we call receptors. So that's insulin's job, to take the sugar out of the bloodstream and put it somewhere. Now, how many of us know those people that eat and eat and eat and they're like this? Yes. We know those people. Those people have a very high metabolism. They use up a lot of energy. Right here. I call them spenders. They spend. Whatever they get, I got a daughter like that. Whatever she gets, it's gone. Where did it go? I don't know. That's what spenders do. They spend a lot of energy. But metabolism is how quickly or slowly you use energy. So a person with a slower metabolism use what they need, and where does the rest go? Where do you think? Yeah, body fat. So insulin's job is to take the sugar and put it somewhere. If you need it for energy, it will go into the muscle. If you don't, it will go into body fat for storage. Some of it's also stored in the liver. Okay? So that's the process of metabolism. Okay? Questions about that? Make sense? Okay. So what goes wrong when you have diabetes? Well, when you have type 1 diabetes, your pancreas stops making insulin. That's a problem, isn't it? Because can the car run without gas? No. So those people, they don't get insulin. Something's damaged their pancreas. It's an autoimmune problem. These people are usually quite young. They're sometimes children, early adults. They're very thin for the most part. They have type 1 diabetes. No insulin. So where do they have to get their insulin from? from medication. It has to be injected in. Their pancreas doesn't make it. Their job is to balance the trucks to the load. They got to balance the trucks to the load. Their pancreas, your pancreas is making a little bit of insulin all the time to take care of the liver. I want you to think of it as a drip, 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 drip. And then when you eat a meal, you need a gush of insulin. So those people have that missing and they have to replace it with injectable insulin. Sounds simple, doesn't it? But anyone who's lived it, it isn't so simple. It's a balance, and trust me, it's not an easy balance sometimes. It's never a perfect balance because the liver is bringing in sugar. Sometimes you need more, sometimes you need less, and they got to balance that. But people with type 2 diabetes, that's not their problem. Their pancreas makes insulin. Sometimes people with type 2 diabetes have hyperinsulinemia. That means their pancreas makes lots and lots and lots of insulin. Their biggest problem is something called insulin resistance. How many people have heard of insulin resistance? Insulin resistance happens when your body is having difficulty using the insulin. We go back to metabolism. Those people that tend to gain. And they gain where? You gain in the hips. Do you gain it here? No, you gain it in the center. And that's heredity. I mean, that's genetic. Your mom gained it in the center. If you're Portuguese, you gain it in the center. If you're Spanish, you gain it in the center. A lot of that is based on genetics. But you gain it in the center. This central weight gain goes on to cause insulin resistance. Now, again, visualization. The best way to kind of think about this is going back to your muscles. And if you think of metabolic cells, and they're all around the center here, and they're all, round, and they got these receptors, these doors that are attached to the cell. And the insulin comes and the insulin attaches to these receptors. But when you gain weight, your cells grow. What happens to the doors? They close. They close. And so can the insulin attach? No. It can attach to some, not all the doors are closed. But your body's like, No. Sugar cannot stay here. It damages your insides, your vessels. Your blood sugar needs to be between 70 and 100 before a meal. No more than 140 after a meal. That's a normal blood sugar. So your body says, oh no, this sugar can't stay here. It's got to go. So your body says, okay, well, I'm going to help. And it does that by making more insulin. So people with insulin resistance actually make a lot of insulin. Go to the doctor. Doctor does blood work. You're normal. Your blood sugar is normal. I know your mother, your father, your sister, and your brother. They all have diabetes, but you're good. Why? Because your pancreas is making enough insulin to move this out. So your blood sugar is normal. But is the problem there? Yeah. That's why we try to catch people before they get diabetes, because studies show that this problem goes on average for about 10 years before somebody goes on to have trouble with their blood sugars. So for 10 years, your body is having trouble and it's making a lot of insulin. Time and a half, overtime, holidays, weekends, is pouring out this insulin all the time. Eventually what happens? It says, you know what, buddy? I can't do this no more. I can't give you what you need. You need so much, and I can't give it to you. Okay? And you go on to develop type 2 diabetes. Or sometimes the doctor does it and says you've got borderline, or your blood sugar's a little elevated. What does that mean? That means it ain't this. Because if it were 70 to 100 or less than 140 after a meal, we wouldn't be talking to you about your sugar. So it's starting to go up. What that means is your pancreas is saying, hello, me? You got to look at me. You got to take care of me. And it's a great opportunity to make some changes to kind of help the system along. Does that make sense? So what do we do about it? And that's what we're going to talk about. Laurie and I are going to kind of help you understand, what do we do about it? What can I do to help my pancreas? Questions about this?